Hey everybody, this is Dark Side Elite here, and I wanted to do another video talking a little bit about the CW and some of the things that I've been hearing, um, especially when it comes down to the streaming service and what's gonna be going on from this point forward. There are a lot of rumors running around stating that DC might be closing down their streaming service, that it's not as profitable as they thought as it's supposed to be. Um, a lot of people are already giving up on it. I'm not. I think that there's a lot more potential with the streaming service. I think that they need to get more product out. I think they need to get more TV services out. Um, a lot of people are throwing in the hat saying that because they are moving Stargirl over to CW, which I think is a very, very, very bad idea because CW is they soap opera their TV shows, and Stargirl could be that more. I'm not saying more adult like Titans, but it could be a little bit better in writing because they don't have to cater to anybody. They just need to tell good stories and get Courtney Whitmore out there so people can really enjoy the classic original Stargirl. Um, but people are already given up on it. There are a few out there that because they got quote unquote sources, that they are stating that the streaming service is going to be closed down. Warner Media might not even continue on with it, and also they are going to be putting more things on HBO Max or anything like that. And a lot of them are saying that well they should just go on HBO Max. I say no, then you're flooding HBO Max with so much content that none of their other content's going to get are going to get that much publicity. Um, if people are going to be watching just straight Titans or Doom Patrol or hell, if Swamp Thing ever comes back or any of these other TV shows or even Young Justice, why the hell we want to watch it on HBO Max? Now, if that's where I kind of draw the line. If they're gonna do that, then I'm not watching Titans. I'm not gonna waste my time with it. I'll just do what I've been doing beforehand and just get the reviews and not spend close to $20 for a service that basically if I'm already giving them $8 of my service plus I get the content of the comic books for free and get older comic books for free and I get TV shows, I think it's a much better package. To me, that's a much better package. And also, just because the international market isn't getting it, that doesn't mean that they're not going to get it. It just means that right now they are just doing it more nationally, and once they get more people, then they'll be able to bridge it out to bigger bigger markets like Europe and even Australia, New Zealand, and even in China if it gets to that far. But people are already giving up on it, and I think that that's the worst thing to do. But that's what they want to do, and that's one of the main reasons why CW. A lot of people do not like the CW TV shows. They don't like it. It's not catered for it's not catered to the DC fans. It's catered to tweeners and young people that don't know jack squat about comic books, or they just got themselves into comic books and don't know nothing about the legacy of these characters. And they're writing them so outlandishly and so pandering to certain audiences that you're you're muddling the nuances of the character. Now, again, I'm not saying to give me 100% comic book accurate. There's no way you could do that. You can't give me 100% comic book accurate, and you also can't give me 100% comic book design. Once you do, it looks so crappy. It doesn't look nothing like it looks crappy. There's a lot of reasons why certain effects do not look very well when it comes transition into live action. And that's why I go, But when they justify and say, no, 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 we went through this many, and there was no way to make it look that if we made it look more in the realms of the comic books, it will look bad. It will look terrible. So I respect that. I have to respect that because they went through the nuances to actually do it that way, but they couldn't do it. So Um, I do believe that they are doing their best, and I think that WB needs to just stick true to it, stick to the DC streaming service because it's gonna get better. It's gonna get bigger. They need. Young Justice was a really great season. People said it was they didn't like it. So what? So what? It's not. It just because you didn't like it this season doesn't mean that it was a terrible season. There were certain aspects in there that you should have liked. They were doing the Judas contract. They also was doing um, the whole thing with Markovia. They introduced Halo. They had a lot of diverse characters in there. They had a lot of diverse storylines. They did a lot of things that was really relevant, and it really upsets me that people just did not like the whole season. And it's like, what did you want? And they have no understanding of how to explain it. To me, I felt that they did a really good job with it. They did not put Darkseid as a main nemesis. They gave us Granny Goodness, and she could come back in the next seasons. They showed a lot more depth and wanting that they wanted Wally to come back. And I think they're testing the waters. They want to see if people really want Wally to come back. A lot of people do want Wally to come back, but they also got to be able to talk about bring out new characters and advance a little bit more of the storylines. I have a huge feeling that they really do want to bring Wally back and create a huge thing between him and Artemis and see where that goes. Um, I think Titans is really good this season. I think it's a little bit better than the first season. But I got to see a little bit further down the road. There are certain aspects I don't like, but that's fine. I mean, that's fine and that's okay. Doom Patrol to me is probably one of the best series. Is not not barring over Titans because I think Titans has a lot more potential than Doom Patrol. Doom Patrol is already set. It knows what it is. Um, um, People love Diane Guerrero's Crazy Jane. That's okay. I personally don't like the character. I don't personally like how they're writing the character. They're making it way too much for the time that we have with her. And even if you give us an episode of Crazy Jane, it's not Crazy Jane. You're getting 15 different personalities, and you're still not. I'm still don't understand. I understand a good chunk of it because I understand a lot more about multiple personalities through a lot of other aspects of TV shows and how they try to explain it, and even some of my knowledge from school about multiple personalities and the diverseness of those multiple personalities and the fraction of DID, dissociative identity disorder. That's one of the bases of multiple personalities. Um, but the thing is that we don't know about her powers. Was she born this way or was she created by the chief? We don't know that, and they don't give us enough to to advance that even further. I do believe that there's a lot more potential there, and I think there's a lot more there for the character, and there's a lot more there for the TV show. But I think that as the writing, it's solid. It's solid. It knows what it is, and it's gonna live up to that level of potential. We missed on Swamp Thing, and Swamp Thing was phenomenal, and it got screwed because of some outside interferences, and that's okay. That's what happened. But they can get themselves back on the foot and get that show back up and running again. Um, it's a great show. I mean, there's a lot of potential with these shows, but Stargirl, we don't know very much about it. I had a huge feeling that Stargirl was more of a CW type of show, but I rather for it to get away from CW because the writing on CW is not that good. And if you take movie level writing or even cable level writing and then degrade it down to network writing, then you're gonna really lose a lot about what makes these shows unique. And that's the problem with the CW shows. They run the same type of stories and the same type of writing across all the shows. The only one that out of all of them that feels very different is Black Lightning because it's literally written by black writers and a black showrunner and a black producers. They're all African American, and they might have a couple of white people and even other minorities that they're helping, but it's a primarily African American or black levels of writing and direction. So they know what they want with the show. The only problem is they run into a lot of what Greg Berlanti is trying to do with these shows, and they need to have a little bit more away from Greg Berlanti and be able to talk about the stuff that they want to talk about. I personally believe that Black Lightning will be phenomenal on not on network television, but more on cable television. It'd be a lot better. I mean, we can get down to a lot more of the nuances. They could be able to push the boundaries a little bit more, and they don't have to worry about pandering because the show has the most diverse, the most liberal and progressive levels of storytelling you can ever tell, and it doesn't have to feel forced because they're all black. You have a black lesbian on the show. uh the women are beautiful on the show, and you have a very strong actor in Chris Williams. So I don't understand how um this show can be written that in a way that makes people feel that it's one of the best shows. It is one of the best shows, but there's a lot of potential that's being missed because it's on network television. And I'm not putting down network television. What I'm putting down is the writing on network televisions has been so bad over the past while when it comes down to how they want to pander to certain audiences that I'm not being blind to it. They are pandering, and I think that that's the wrong thing you need to do. Just tell a good story, and you want everybody to be able to freaking to come along. And if they don't come along, that's fine. That is perfectly fine. But you want to keep writing very niche so you get those audience members that are going to stick with it for a very long time. But they want to try to get the bigger numbers. It has to win the night so they get all this money. No, they need to get back to just tell good strong stories, and the show that lasts the longest makes the most. Supernaturals lasts for 15 years, and it had the most up and down seasons out of any out of any show I've ever seen. It has had the most ups and downs. Some of them were phenomenal. Some of them were just straight hot s on a. It was straight hot s on a hot day. So um, that's my video here. I want to leave it here. I want to do this one really quick and get it out there because I'm getting sick and tired of the people saying that the DC streaming service it's not good and they shouldn't put their money to it. Well, I'm getting free comics. I'm getting free comics I can go read. I can read the comics. I can read older comics, and I don't want to spend money on Comixology because guess what? That money's going over to Disney. That money's going over to Marvel. I'm not giving Marvel my money because they have crapped all over characters just to sell a buck. And I want to read storytelling that's basically really good storytelling. And if you like Marvel, you like Disney, that's fine. That's great. But I'm